Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening.
I don't say.
Right, actually it's three. There's three at the end of the second one. It's three, so you could go at the second one. Okay, yeah, cool. Good afternoon, sir. Right here at the company. Yeah. Your fleet is here. So you have to. got any more strugglers?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Barbados Defense Forces 45th Anniversary Parade and Sunset Ceremony. It is indeed a pleasure to have all of you join us this evening for what promises to be much pomp and pageantry. I'm Lieutenant Coast Guard Crispin Hackett, your Master of Ceremonies for this evening, and we now invite you to sit back, relax, and of course, stand when asked to, and enjoy the evening's celebrations. The parade is now under the command of the Adjutant, Captain Desmond Grant, and will now be dressed by the Conducting Warrant Officer, Master Chief Petty Officer Grosvenor.
Good afternoon.
The drums will now promenade. The promenade is a signal to the officers
making sure, Joe. Let's go. Let's talk about bro.
The parade adjutant will now report and hand over the parade to the parade second in command, who will march on the officers and flag party to their respective detachments.
Good evening, sir. I am Captain Desmond Grant, adjutant for this evening's parade celebrating the 45th anniversary of the Barbados Defense Force. The parade comprises 13 officers, 6 sworn officers, and 210 other ranks formed up at the open order, at the shoulder, and awaiting the pleasure of your command and service.
Show me and then I go.
The parade's second in command is Lieutenant Coast Guard Sean Hazelwood, a proud alumnus of the St. Paul's Primary School and Harrison College. Lieutenant Coast Guard Hazelwood enlisted in the Barbados Defense Force in April 2008. Over the course of his career, he has served in varied capacities ranging from ship command to parade commentator to equerry for the then Prince Charles for his royal visits. His proudest moment to date, however, is having his daughter on parade with him today, as she is marching with the Sea Cadets.
Your detachment! Quick march!
The officers will now take up their positions at the front of their various detachments. Please be seated.
Order! Arms! Stand up! Ease! Right!
I'm being held hostage.
Right! Shot! Shoulder! Arms!
The parade's second in command will now hand over the parade to the parade commander.
Good afternoon, sir. I am Lieutenant Coast Guard Sean Hazelwood, second in command of this afternoon's parade commemorating the 45th anniversary of the Barbados Defense Force. On parade are 14 officers, 6 warrant officers, and 210 other ranks, formed up at the open order at the shoulder and awaiting the pleasure of your command. Sir, please.
Today's parade commander is Lieutenant Commander Graham Rochford. He is currently serving as the Executive Officer acting the Barbados Coast Guard.
Left, form. Party. Hold.
Right! All right! Shot!
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand as the colors are marched on to the parade.
Shoulder! Arms! March on the colors!
Yes, sir!
Right! Reason! Arms!
Caliporting! Oh, yes, center! Peak, mark!
Right! Shoulder! Arms!
Please be seated.
Order! Arms! Stand! Aim!
The parade is now settled and awaiting the arrival of the dignitaries. We now await the arrival of the Chief of Staff of the Barbados Defense Force. And speaking of Chief of Staff, Brigadier Rudyard Lewis, former Chief of Staff, would like to extend his apologies for his absence and certainly wishes the Barbados Defense Force a happy anniversary.
Right! Hooray! Shut! Down there! Arms!
Please stand for the arrival of Commodore Errington Sherlin, Chief of Staff of the Barbados Defense Force.
Ready! Run around, salute! Reason! Arms! Shoulder! Arms! Order! Arms!
Please be seated.
And aim!
The next dignitary to arrive, the Chief Justice of Barbados.
That's right to the end. Right to the end.
Please stand for the arrival of the Honorable Mr. Justice Leslie Haynes, Chief Justice of Barbados.
Right. Order. Arms.
Please be seated.
Stand up. Aye.
Next, we await the arrival of our Prime Minister, who will be the principal guest and reviewing officer and will be accorded a general salute.
Right. Parade. Shut. Shoulder. Arms.
Please stand for the arrival of the Honorable Mia Amor Motley, Prime Minister of Barbados.
General salute. Reason. Arms. Shoulder. Arms. Order. Arms.
The parade commander will now report the state of the parade to the reviewing officer.
Good evening, ma'am. I am Lieutenant Commander Graham Rushford, Parade Commander for the 45th Anniversary Parade of the Barbados Defense Force. On parade, there are 14 officers, 6 warrant officers, and 210 other ranks drawn from the ranks of the Barbados Coast Guard, the Barbados Regiment, the Barbados Regiment Reserve, and the mass band of the Barbados Defense Force and the Barbados Cadet Corps. The parade is formed up at the open order and awaiting the pleasure of your inspection. Ma'am, please.
The reviewing officer will now inspect the detachments on parade. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Inspection is being done to fifth movement, Invasion Full Sweep, Mr. John Bain, arranged by Mr. Roger Gittins. Having been completed, the parade commander will seek permission of the reviewing officer to carry on with the next aspect of the parade. March past and paying compliments by the detachments, starting with the troop by the Barbados Defense Force Band.
May I have your permission to carry on with the remainder of the parade? Ma'am, please.
Please be seated.
Right! In loose order! In was! Dress!
Band will now march past in slow time to Barbados, My Island of Dreams, arranged by Major Alfred Taylor. Director of Music, Captain Brian Cole. Drum Major, Sergeant Jane Mears. Band Administrator, Sergeant and Chief Instructor of Music, Sergeant Laura King. Chief Instructor of Military Skills, Sergeant Andrew Bell.
Pass on across! By the center! Quick march!
The band will now march past in quick time to Sons of the Brave, composed by Thomas Midwood.
Right shoulder out. The parade will march fast in slow and quick time by detachment. Number 1 detachment leading. Move to the right in 3. Right. Turn.
The parade will now march past in slow and quick time.
Barbados Coast Guard. By the left. Now. March.
ensign level and acting Sub-Lieutenant Kimberly Gibbons. Of the ensign, Sub-Lieutenant John Golla. The second detachment, Barbados Regiment, Reserve and Corps of Women combined. Detachment Commander, Lieutenant Roseanne Bennett. Subalterns, Second Lieutenant Kyle Straker. Chapter. Feel free to give them a round of applause as they pass, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Next is the Guard of Honor, and we ask you to kindly stand for the colors. Guard Commander, Lieutenant Mark Jemmett, Subaltern Lieutenant Dexter Holt. Carrying the regimental flag is Lieutenant Maynard, escorted by Warrant Officer Class 2 Hazard Leaks and Color Sergeants Lovell and Morris.
What is that?
Please be seated. Next detachment, the Barbados Cadet Corps. Our final detachment, the Barbados Sea Cadets. Parade will now march past in quick time. Please stand for the ensign. Please remain standing for the colors. 45 years and counting strong, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give them a round of applause. Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to take just a minute to make a special announcement about the following persons. Commander Ryan Allen, Master Chief Petty Officer Class 1 Derek Grosvenor, Warrant Officer Class 2 Azard Weeks, Chief Petty Officer Answar Street. Ladies and gentlemen, these four men are all celebrating 30 years of service to the Barbados Defense Force. Please, let us acknowledge them at this time. The next phase of the parade will be the invocation by the Barbados Defense Force Chaplaincy, and at this time I'd like to invite Reverend Captain Roslyn Harper Johnson.
The Lord be with you. Let us pray. Eternal God, our Heavenly Father, in this anniversary celebration, we bow and pray, not out of habit or mere formality, but in humble and sincerity, to claim your presence and to honor your name as we continue to celebrate 45 years of service to the island state of Barbados and other Caribbean islands. We thank you for the excellent heritage of our country, its proud history and noble achievements. We are grateful that the dangers confronting our nations today receive our soldiers' constant vigilance and dedication. We thank you for the privilege of serving in and being associated with other forces worldwide, and pray that your rich blessing will be upon us all. Enable each of us to renew our commitment to serving with efficiency and honor, living out our core values as men and women, striving daily to maintain a symbol of excellence. Grant us the determination to individually and collectively live out our team, proven excellent, shaping a promising future. As we meet at this parade and sunset ceremony, we also remember those who once stood in rank among us, but have now surrendered their eternal earthly duties for higher service in you. And for those who once served and have retired at the end of their service, yet continue to support us with their praise and presence. Please be among us as the bread of life, the shelter in times of trouble, the comforter in times of pain and death. May your rich blessing rest upon each member, dear Lord. Finally, we pray for Sandra, our president, Mia, our prime minister, Leslie, our chief justice, and all who assist in the leadership of this island. Our chief of staff, Errington, and all those who dedicate their service to the efficient running of the Barbados Defense Force. Bless them, our nation, and our fellow citizens. Continue to direct our national dream towards freedom for all people, and our talents and energies and commitment towards that hope. For it is in your Son's name we pray this evening. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Captain Rosalind Harper Johnson. Well, we are indeed happy to have all of you here at the beautiful and very historic St. Anne's Fort Base. And for the official welcome remarks, I'd like to invite Major Julia Dabrio, Commanding Officer of the Barbados Regiment.
The Honorable Mayor Amor Motley, Prime Minister of Barbados, the Honorable Mr. Justice Leslie Haynes, Chief Justice of Barbados, members of Parliament of the Cabinet, members of Parliament, members of the Defence Board, members of the Judiciary, members of the Diplomatic Corps, members of the Senate, permanent secretaries, and other senior public officers of related grades, Commodore Ayrton Sherlin, Chief of Staff for the Barbados Defense Force, Mr. Richard Boyce, Commissioner of Police of the Barbados Police Service, other service chiefs, former chiefs and deputy chiefs of staff for the Barbados Defense Force, heads of international, regional, and national organizations, retired officers, warrant officers, and enlisted ranks, service members, families and friends of the Barbados Defense Force, members of the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I am Major Julia Dabrio, Commanding Officer of the Barbados Regiment. On behalf of the Chief of Staff for the Barbados Defense Force, it is my honor this evening to give the welcome remarks as the servicemen and women of the Barbados Defense Force celebrate the establishment of the Barbados Defense Force by hosting today the 45th anniversary parade and sunset ceremony at this, the historic St. Anne's Fort, home of the Barbados Defense Force. I wish to extend a special welcome to the Honorable Mayor Amor Montley, Prime Minister, for gracing us and accepting the invitation to present the feature address. The Honorable Mr. Justice Leslie Haynes, Chief Justice of Barbados, a warm welcome is extended to you. Proven excellence, shaping a promising future is a befitting theme to mark our 45th anniversary celebrations. It epitomizes who we are, our tenacity, resilience, commitment of duty, and selfless service, both past and towards shaping a promising future. Our proven excellence recognizes the necessity of shared purpose. In hoping to shape a promising future, we as a force value the trust that the government and people of Barbados, as well as our partners, both internationally, regionally, nationally, have in us. Most importantly, we are grateful to the families and friends of the Barbados Defense Force. As we celebrate this evening, we, the service members of the Barbados Defense Force, welcome you wholeheartedly to St. Anne's Fort and to our 45th anniversary parade and sunset ceremony. I sincerely hope that you continue to enjoy this evening's celebrations. Thank you.
Thank you, Major Dabrio. Ladies and gentlemen, for our second special announcement for this evening, Intake 1 of 1994. Major Dabrio, Lieutenant Commander Cordell, Major Darlington, Captain Broom, Captain Cole, Warrant Officer Brathwaite, Sergeant Payne, Captain Haynes, all celebrating as well 30 years of service to the Barbados Defense Force. At this time, we will now have a musical interlude by the Barbados Defense Force Band. gentlemen, Stick Liquor and Out of This World, arranged by Kyle Corbin. Let's give the Barbados Defense Force Band a rousing round of applause. They're doing such a fantastic job. Barbados Defense Force Band. Next, we will have our feature address, and I'd like to invite the Honorable Mia Amor Motley, Prime Minister of Barbados.
Chief Justice of Barbados, Mr. Leslie Haynes, fellow cabinet colleagues, members of the Diplomatic Corps, permanent secretaries and officers of related grade, Chief of Staff, officers and other ranks of the Barbados Defense Force, Barbadians, members of the media. 45 years is not to be discounted in any arena as an anniversary. And I want to start, therefore, this afternoon by giving thanks. Giving thanks first to all who have served and continue to serve in the purpose of this nation as members of the Barbados Defense Force in whatever category or related entity, and all who have brought distinction to this nation through your service over these last 45 years. Thursday gone, August 15th, represented exactly 45 years that you have been in existence. But we have to thank you for so much more. We thank you for being there when the reaches of our civil structures in our national framework were not enough to be able to provide for all as we face both man-made and natural-made disasters. We thank you for being able to work with us at short notice on almost every occasion. And if there is anyone within the reach of my voice who doubts how critical your role has been, you only need to remember what transpired between 2020 and 2023, when, as a result of the selfless actions of the members of this great force, Barbadians were protected and shielded from the worst that awful COVID-19 pandemic brought upon us and the rest of the world. Yes, you can clap for that. You stood up when others were nervous, when others were hesitant, when some might even have been afraid. And with absolute and utter commitment to duty, you played your part and you allowed us as an executive to be able to put in place the policies that would bring that level of protection to our people. But it wasn't the first time that you did it. And it wasn't only in Barbados that you have done it. You have worked across this region as members first and foremost of the Regional Security Service, but equally as partners with other nations within the Caribbean community and with those with whom we have treaty relationships within the context of this community. It is against that backdrop that I also need, therefore, today, in celebrating 45 years, to give thanks to those who have been our partners on this journey. Our international partners, many of whom are represented here today, I want to say to each and every one of you, for you to refer to your capital, thank you on behalf of the Barbados Defense Force for your tremendous work and cooperation over the course of the last 45 years. I want to say equally thank you to the original security system, of which you have been a member and for which you have played a critical role in the defense of those Caribbean citizens in this Caribbean community. And whether that request has come as a result of man-made security threats or as a result of the need for humanitarian assistance to be delivered as a result, more often than not, of natural disaster, you have been there and you have played that role without question. But if you follow my train of thought, then the next thank you are not for those who are on parade, but are for those who allow you to be on parade seamlessly, your families. And I want each and every one of us in here today to recognize that being in a family with those who must put commitment to duty and country before family requires an extraordinary level of understanding and compassion on the part of those whom you leave behind, whether physically to travel or just even part and parcel of your routine in the context of being required to be at the service of this nation. And I ask each and every one of us to please give a loud round of applause to the families of those who have served in the Barbados Defense Force and who continue. You can do better than that. And here songs a little dull for an anniversary, please. And I pay tribute to you because, as I said, I'm conscious of what commitment to duty means. And it is perhaps a lesson that we need to speak a little more about in our nation today. To those across every sector of this society. Because we live in a world where individualism is so strong and so pervasive that we forget that if we let individual run rampant, as those who practice law will tell you, you will then trend to a state of anarchy. And that what is required is not only the protection of the rule of law, but the protection of the institutions in our society that help allow for the compatible and complementary actions of each and every one of us. If not, we then succumb to the strongest among us being able to survive. And you and I know what that meant during COVID. That brought about the worst imaginations of what absolute anarchy could look like. For those who are students of movies in the past, they'll tell you that in the wild, wild west and westerns, the absence of capacity to maintain rule of law wrought total devastation, not just to geographical areas, but indeed to individuals. And to that child in a classroom or in a schoolyard who is the victim of others' bullying, you know what it means not to live in a world where the rule of law pertains, because you are the victim purely of bullying or the strongest among at the time. This notion, therefore, of duty is a lesson that I want to reinforce today as part of the theme that reinforces how you made this journey of excellence and how you continue to do so. That old hymn, I vow to thee, my country, comes to mind. For in that we accept that whatever other duty we have to self and family and community, our duty to country runs paramount. And you, those of you who serve in this institution, reflect it perhaps stronger and better than almost any other institution, because it is the basis on which you perform your actions, your duties, and execute your role as a member on a daily basis. We do not take it for granted. I'd like, however, for us to not only celebrate 45, but I'd like us to imagine what 50 looks like and what 50 must look like for this institution. We have spent much time over the course of the last few weeks settling a number of arrangements with an understanding that when 50 comes, the Barbados Defense Force must be ready to move into its second half century, fully prepared and suited to be able to do so, fit for purpose. Recognizing that in the same way as we became a republic, you changed your colors. In the same way as we became a republic, we changed our head of state. In the same way that we became a republic, it is about time that the Barbados Defense Force starts to function within its own deliberate framework and develop its own institutional memory within the context of its own architectural sovereignty. We give thanks to you for maintaining the heritage at this St. Anne's Fort, for it is a critical part of our history that must be preserved and that will allow us to tell the stories of the past. But we accept that this St. Anne's Fort has long been outgrown by you. And we give you thanks for being patient, particularly since when we came to office, we had first to wrestle problems that were at the core of the country's societal and macroeconomic stability and indeed national security. We are not yet where we want to be, but we are a lot better than where we were. And being a lot better than where we were allows us now to make steps into the future, to allow you to see 50 with a different set of glasses. This St. Anne's Fort will continue to have its heritage aspects preserved for the heritage economy, first and foremost, of this country, and then for those who may want to see what it was like to visit a country whose history dates back. Next year, we learn 400 years of its modern landing when the British first landed. It has been at the center of global events and indeed the enrichment of many outside of this nation. It has equally been at the center of the oppressive actions taken to many of our ancestors who were forced to do things against their will. So that there is no doubt that we must maintain the integrity of this site. But there is equally no doubt that a modern Barbados Defense Force cannot continue to operate from this site. We have now settled in recent weeks the location in St. George and equally the scope of what a new Barbados Defense Force purpose-built headquarters will look like. And I look forward to the design works being completed over the course of the next year, such that we may be in a position to start the construction and ensure that by the time the 50th anniversary comes around on August 15th, 2029, and regardless of who is here, that there will be true celebration that we have truly put you as a force to come of age in circumstances and in a geographical environment that is fit for a modern-day defense force of a small island developing state. But equally, we recognize that as our fiscal circumstances continue to improve, as we get a little more elbow room, that it is absolutely critical that we also expand the numbers of this force. The reality is that we want to set ourselves the target over the course of the next 5 years as well that we have an establishment of no less than 800 active persons in the Barbados Defense Force. And the Defense Board has already taken the decisions to go in that direction. We believe that it is important that we create more opportunities for young Barbadians to be able to participate in the Barbados Defense Force and in the Barbados Police Service and in all the other protective services in a way that not only allows the nation to remain strong and safe, but equally provide opportunities for individuals, because in these institutions, the chance for training accompanied by the commitment and nurturing of discipline and duty make not only for strong citizens, but provide the basis for strong families, because those of you who then benefit from being able to make the changes in your lives individually are then in a position to be able to provide for your families. Equally, the expansion of the Barbados Cadet Corps, whether the traditional Cadet Corps or the Sea Cadets, is absolutely essential to exposing our young people to what it is like to manage both risk, but at the same time to reinforce the importance of duty. This government, therefore, will continue to support the aggressive expansion of the Barbados Cadet Corps, recognizing that for many of our young people, their involvement in these institutions made the defining difference to what kind of young men and women they would become because of their exposure, their discipline that has been instilled in them, and indeed the opportunity to learn resilience and to be able to survive and to understand context more than anything else. We believe that we are not just a small island developing state. We are a large ocean state. And as such, then the sea must not be our enemy, but we must treat it as our ally, and we must learn to love it, respect it, and to recognize that while many have told us in the past that the sea has no back door, that is not an entreaty for us to stay out of it, but it is indeed an entreaty for us to learn how to master our survival in the ocean by how we swim, by how we dive, by how we even dog paddle. And to that extent, therefore, my friends, the continued expansion of the Barbados Sea Cadets is an area that the government has expressed its confidence and its desire to work aggressively in being able to bring about for our young people. I have shared these thoughts because while I have referred simply to your involvement in COVID, the truth is that that dreaded moment of a natural disaster that will decimate many of us and our households has not yet been a part of our modern appreciation. Not in Barbados. I have had the misfortune of being, regrettably, in too many of them. And I therefore appreciate more than most that the first duty of a nation after the passage of a system that will lead to great damage and loss of life is the maintenance of security and law and order. Largely because there is utter anarchy and mental anxiety that takes hold. And people believe that in the absence of order, that they can do as they like and take as they like. We recognize that that is the immediate necessity for the preservation of strong institutions to maintain the rule of law in the aftermath of a hurricane. But we are equally conscious that the scale of damage done often requires of us investment in other skills that in a small nation with skills deficit, we cannot take for granted. It is against that backdrop that I've asked the Commodore to be able, and the Chief of Staff, to be able to put us in a position to have the beginnings of a civil and engineering corps that can work in a complementary fashion with the Ministry of Public Works and the other infrastructural departments across the government of Barbados. The existence of a defense force in a small developing state or in large countries requires an appreciation for infrastructure, the alleviation of flooding, and a number of other missions that require a deep appreciation and understanding and expertise for engineering. And unless we plan for it, and unless we maintain it, we're not going to be in a position to benefit from it. The last area of future expansion, we would have loved to have been on our own. But once again, as a small developing state, we recognize the limitations of what we can do. And to that extent, our commitment to the full functioning within the framework and treaty of the regional security system will always be uppermost for us. It is against that backdrop that we have asked that in our ability to develop more capacity, because we are truly an island separated from everyone else by ocean, that we need to develop greater capacity within an air wing, but not in the context of the Barbados Defense Force, but in the context of the regional security system. And to that extent, therefore, we look forward to officers within this force being given opportunities to train so that they can more effectively function in greater numbers within the context of the regional security system, recognizing that the climate crisis means that the odds of one of us being hit at some point every year from now on is exceedingly high. And to that extent, we have not only to master the oceans, but we will have equally to master the airspace that we have if we are to work together as a community within the Caribbean. Against that backdrop, we thank the Cooperative Republic of Guyana for joining the regional security system and for strengthening, therefore, our capacity to help us maintain the stability and security of the Eastern and Southern Caribbean. And we commit as a nation and as the Barbados Defense Force Commodore to providing all that is necessary to ensure that the regional security system can complement national institutions such as ours in critical areas where there may either be a skills deficit or an incapacity as a result of fiscal difficulties to do that which we would want to do. My dear friends, I have shared these thoughts with you because 50 must look better than 45. And 50 will look better than 45 if we work together to be able to achieve these things. But as we do this at our level of the Defense Board and at the level of the government of Barbados to provide the resources that you have been so patient in recognizing that you could not be at the top of the line necessarily because you were still in a state of comfort as compared to many others within the country. Your turn, having come, requires that as we give this to you, I ask you simply to continue to commit to duty, to continue to commit to ensuring that the excellence that you have achieved in this Barbados Defense Force can be replicated as we go forward and strengthened even through strong and focused leadership, through strict adherence to military codes of conduct, through robust engagement with those whom you are sworn to protect, through a well-resourced defense strategy, and through the maintenance, always, of a high level of operational readiness. This is what you have caused us to become accustomed to, and this is what you must at all costs defend and build upon. As I close in this sunset ceremony, I recognize that it is equally the sunset ceremony of one who has given so much of his life in the 45 years. And I ask all of us to stand and pay tribute to the Chief of Staff, Commodore Errington Sherlin, for an outstanding job. And I ask those on parade I am not a military person, but you must forgive me, to go and let us raise 3 cheers. Hip hip. Hip hip. Hip hip. Commodore, I wore this white outfit today to pay you the greatest tribute that I can for doing us the honor of helping us to bridge these very difficult years over the course of our existence through the pandemic. Thank you. Thank you. And to the rest of us, I say simply now, it must be 3 cheers for this institution that has done so much good, when others, when it was formed, felt that it would do so much bad and so much divisiveness. And I am glad that the Honorable Mighty Gabby is alive with us today to recognize that boots and more boots have led to great things for this country. Hip hip! Hip hip! Hip hip! May you reach the 50th year in this vein of excellence, and may we continue to build for the people of this nation whom you and I are sworn to defend. Thank you.
Thank you, Prime Minister Motley. At this time, we'll now have the vote of thanks by Captain Jamal Sobers.
The Honorable Mia Amor Motley, Prime Minister of Barbados. The Honorable Mr. Justice Leslie Haynes, Chief Justice of Barbados. Members of Cabinet, members of the Defense Board, members of the Judiciary, members of the Diplomatic Corps, permanent secretaries, and other senior public officers of related grades. Chief of Staff, Commodore Ayrton Sherlin, Mr. Richard Boyce, Commissioner of Police, other service chiefs, former chiefs and deputy chiefs of the Barbados Defense Force, heads of international, regional, and national organizations, retired officers, warrant officers, and enlisted ranks, service members, families, and friends, specially invited guests, the media, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I am Captain Jamal Sobers, Officer Commanding Support Company, and I stand before you this evening with immense gratitude and pride to move the vote of thanks on this momentous occasion, the celebration of the 45th anniversary of the Barbados Defense Force. It is an honor on behalf of the Chief of Staff, officers, enlisted ranks, and civilian members of staff to express our heartfelt appreciation to all those who have served, sacrificed, and supported this organization through the years. Firstly, I wish to thank our Heavenly Father for protecting us over the years and allowing us to witness this celebration. We are grateful for the countless blessings bestowed upon us, and we ask for continued blessings and protection in our journey ahead. Reverend Captain Harper Johnson, thank you for invoking God's presence here today. I take this opportunity to thank our guest of honor, the Honorable Mia Amor Motley, Prime Minister of Barbados, for her very insightful address. It is indeed through your innovative ideas that we will continue to achieve remarkable results for the benefit of our nation and the wider Caribbean. Your unwavering support and vision has been instrumental in the growth and success of the BDF. Your commitment to our nation's security and the well-being of its citizens continue to be an inspiration to the force as we fulfill our duties with excellence and dedication. We will continue to be disciplined in our labor to advance the work of our ancestors, from the 15th of August 1979 and onward, even before the formation of the force as we know it today, dating back to the Barbados Militia, the Barbados Volunteer Force, and the Barbados Regiment, on whose shoulders we proudly stand. I wish to thank the Chiefs of Staff, past and present, for their leadership, guidance, and strategic foresight to ensure that the BDF remains a pillar of strength and resilience for our nation. Your leadership over the past 45 years has inspired countless men and women to serve with honor, discipline, and integrity. I extend sincere gratitude to the commanding officer of the Barbados Regiment, Major Julia Dabrio, for the warm welcome offered. Your remarks were the perfect start to this event. Thank you for setting such a positive and inviting atmosphere. To our brave servicemen and women, former and current, we owe you a debt of gratitude that can never be repaid. Your dedication, courage, and selfless service protect our way of life. We salute and honor your commitment to our nation. Most importantly, to the families of our military personnel, we extend our deepest thanks. Your steady prayers, support, and sacrifices allow our service members to fulfill their duties with a peace of mind. Your strength and resilience are truly commendable. An occasion of such magnitude does not come together overnight. The wheels have to start turning months in advance. It requires meticulous planning and execution with an eye for detail. Therefore, I want to take a moment to recognize the efforts of the 45th Anniversary Planning Committee. Thank you for your commitment for making our anniversary celebrations happen. These achievements would not have been possible without the collective efforts of this incredible team, including the careful preparation of St. Anne's Fort, one of the most prized jewels in the UNESCO World Heritage Site of Bridgetown and its garrison. To the mass bands, comprising members of the Barbados Defense Force and the Barbados Cadet Corps, every year your musical skills become more and more fine-tuned. Thank you for adding a sweet fragrance of song to this celebration. We appreciate your performances. To all of our strategic partner organizations, we recognize you and appreciate the time, energy, resources you have invested in our shared endeavors. Your willingness to work together, overcome challenges, and celebrate each other's success has strengthened our collective impact. It would be remiss of me to omit the media who, through their professionals present today, capture and broadcasted this event and always reflect the military's worth and contributions to the country. Lastly, to our fellow citizens and General Barbados, we thank you for standing by the Barbados Defense Force, for recognizing our sacrifices, our efforts, and showing your appreciation in countless ways. Your support means more than words can express. It remains an honor to serve Barbados, whether on land or at sea, regardless of the domain, dimension, discomfort, or danger of the complex security environment in which we function. As the BDF enters year 46, we shall remain steadfast in our military service to our country, Barbados, to uphold and defend its values and interests, and in doing so, bring credit to the nation at all times. Ladies and gentlemen, as we conclude, I want to extend our heartfelt thanks to all of our guests. Your presence has made this parade a joyous occasion. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain Sobers. Ladies and gentlemen, I ask that you please stand and remain standing for the advance in review order in preparation for the sunset ceremony.
Parade! Jump! Shoulder! Out! Right and left flank! Out flank!
Please remain standing for the final salute.
General salute. Present. Arms. Shoulder. Arms.
Please remain standing for the departure of our dignitaries.
Sir?
Captain Herbert.
Lose my chauffeur.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Parade commander will now prepare for the march off.
Right. Order. Arms. Left and right flanks inwards. Turn. In. Close.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the ceremonial aspect of the Barbados Defense Forces 45th Anniversary Parade and Sunset Ceremony. On parade today, the Barbados Coast Guard, Barbados Regiment Reserve and Corps of Women, the Guard of Honor, Barbados Cadet, Barbados Sea Cadets, Barbados Defense Force Band. Let's all give them a round of applause once more as we celebrate 45 years. We look forward to you joining us for the next aspect of the evening with the laws of the officers' mess. There awaits you refreshments, entertainment, and an evening filled with mixing and mingling. Lieutenant Coast Guard, Mr. Hackett. We shall see you again. Good evening.
Defense Force, safeguarding our national interest since 1979. On land and in the air and yes, cyber and maritime. Humanitarian assistance at home and regionally. And in times of disaster, courageous commitment to duty, whilst developing our young people to uplift our country. Happy 45th anniversary. Happy anniversary, Barbados Defense Force. With pride and dignity, Barbados Defense Force. We salute from coast to coast, Barbados Defense Force. A symbol of excellence, Barbados Defense Force. We salute in excellence, Barbados Defense Force. Safeguarding our national interest since 1979. On land and in the air and yes, cyber and maritime. Humanitarian assistance at home and regionally. And in times of disaster, courageous commitment to duty, whilst developing our young people to uplift our country. Happy 45th anniversary. Happy anniversary, Barbados Defense Force. With pride and dignity, Barbados Defense Force. We salute from coast to coast, Barbados Defense Force. A symbol of excellence, Barbados Defense Force. We salute in excellence, Barbados Defense Force. Safeguarding our national interest since 1979. On land and in the air and yes, cyber and maritime. Humanitarian assistance at home and regionally. And in times of disaster, courageous commitment to duty, whilst developing our young people to uplift our country. Happy 45th anniversary.